5, 4, 3.
Damon, what's the state of play in Blur these days? How are you all getting on?
You know, pretty good. You know, we never. Oh, never TV. I just think we have a very realistic relationship. You know, I don't think after 10 years of living in each other's, you know, shoes, really. I mean, we still get on, but the relationship has obviously changed since we were kids together. You know, I mean, we're all grown men now, we should be. And we've got different aspirations, I suppose. But, you know, at those moments when we're playing or recording, you know, there is a real sense that, you know, we belong with each other. The rest of the time is kind of, you know, it's like a lottery, really, on how everyone's feeling on a particular day.
But how bad? I mean, you're not going to be able to make good stuff if you get on really badly.
Oh no, we never got on really badly. I mean, we get on well, you know.
Well,
but how what degree of kind of sort of?
Well, I've heard, I hear tell that one of the ways that you kept nearly in touch with Alex at one stage was by fax or email or something. Like it was like.
No, Graham.
Oh, sorry, Graham.
Yeah, Graham.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like if you think I'm going to talk to him, can think again. Like how bad did it get between, say, Great Escape and Blur albums 4 and 5? Or even during Blur album 5?
Well, every record there's people go kind of missing during recording.
That's a euphemism for everything, right?
Yeah, really. I don't, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. So, but they come back, you know. Usually.
Okay, but like coming back with album number 6, say, which is called 13, that album, I mean, like you've come back surely better for the journey that you went right down.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So therefore stronger together as 4 people.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think, you know, in that sense, I think that record's really opened up the possibilities of what you can do with music. Certainly in my head.
Mm.
You know, I'm sort of doing so many other things as well. And still, you know, there was a point where being in Blur seemed to sort of occupy all my time, and now I can do it and do it well, and also do loads of other kind of musical things. So I don't know what that means, but I think definitely not so worried about achieving or underachieving.
Yeah. Because
we're very kind of confident with our work, which probably haven't been so in the past, but that's just growing up, isn't it?
There's something that I think is quite American about what you said in some ways. It's something like you've always got to be the best, you've got to achieve this high school thing or this, you know, American football thing, you've got to be number one in that. Was there a point when success and fame was very important to Blur?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you put yourself through all of that. That being what we put ourselves through. And unless you had quite a sort of a burning desire to, but then, you know, then it's just an intangible thing, isn't it? It's just you know, it's just that energy that you find in sort of getting feedback from people. But I think after a while it can become a very tiring thing to sort of, you know, it's like any drug, isn't it? Really, it just starts tiring you out after a while. It stops being euphoric and just becomes you know, you spend more time at trying to get it than you do enjoying it.
Right.
And I think we just came to a conclusion that where we really got our kind of kicks was when we were making music.
But the music you're making now, it would seem to me, regardless of how many hints there were there on B-sides of early 90s stuff, etc., the music you're making now would seem to me to be artistically liberating, to say the very least. And I'm not saying it was constricting before that, but there was a certain...
No, I mean, I look back and, you know, there's bits on every record which I feel kind of link.
Yeah. So it was always
together.
there?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's... Oh, I don't know, you know, I think everyone suffers from it a bit. It becomes really successful. you know, you by accident write a few songs which are tremendously popular, and then you know, unless you're very, very strong-minded and kind of wise before your years, you do go through periods when you think, well, I want to try and do that again. And what I've learned is that it doesn't work like that. You know, it happens when it happens.
Are you in some, like saying like Leisure and Modern Life is rubbish, like the first few albums, say, are you saying in some ways there was two kinds of Blur maybe, the very commercial stuff that could get to the top of the charts, the top of the hat, and there was the other Blur as well. And then maybe The Great Escape was, if you like, the big commercial, huge, this is it, this is what we're going to do, this is the way it's going to be,
well,
top of the charts,
I just think,
and I've had enough of that now.
Well, we started making that just when Part Life had kind of sort of transcended being just a record and become a cultural thing, and the whole thing with Oasis and just everything, big tabloids, that was all a new experience at the time, and we were making that record at that time, so it sort of naturally reflected this sort of ridiculous experiences. Like, you know, I remember one day going to see Tony Blair, and then going out and hanging out with Liam in the evening, you know, and just sort of insane days that seemed to happen every day. So that record was a very weird time. We shouldn't have made a record then, really. I mean, I don't object. I think it would have been better as a musical. That sort of kind of like a comedy of.
A concept album, Damon.
Well, it should have been a musical. It should be running in the West End now.
Yeah, right.
It shouldn't have been a kind of rock band's record, because it would have made a great musical. People would love Country House if it was a musical.
That well-publicised rivalry you talked about there, like, I mean, going out with Liam. Could you go out with Liam tomorrow for a drink, but not Noel?
But not no.
But not Noel Gallagher.
Well, it was funny. I was on a plane back from Cannes, and I didn't know he was two rows behind me. But apparently, it was causing you know, people were sort of wondering what was going to happen. But I was totally unaware of it until we got up, and then I sort of noticed him, and we have this thing where we just try to ignore each other, but also not make it obvious that we're ignoring each other. So we kind of went on either side of the aisle and sort of were in kind of tandem getting off the plane and not looking at each other. Just very funny. Pretty childish, really.
Could you name a name of who you admire?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a list that goes on forever. I mean, at the moment, I'm really into just learning more about. I mean, I studied piano pretty intensely until I was 18, and I just sort of threw it away. And then when I discovered Ruben Gonzalez through listening to the Buena Vista Social Club CD to start off with, and then I got more into the whole thing, and then got into Cachao, and then I went to Cuba and just had an amazing time there. And
when you say you gave it all up, this studying thing of piano and drama and all the rest of it, that's because you didn't really give it all up, but just you didn't express it from having learned it, because punk came along, and you couldn't say no to punk if you're a certain age, right?
Well, I miss punk, but I just I was more two-tone, really. Specials was my band.
Oh yeah.
And I've always what I want to sort of do, which is, you know, the spirit of the Specials is something I've just, you know, I haven't been able to get in Blur, because we're like an all-white band.
I don't get that. What you mean is like the Jerry Dammers approach to music, or the black and white in the band?
The black and white and the Jerry Dammers vibe is something I really, really respect.
Right.
You know, that's why I think, you know, if I'm ever asked what my favourite band is, it's always the Specials.
And what age were you then when the Specials were big?
13, 14. That time, I mean, I just, you know, all my books had special little two-tone logos on them.
Right. Okay, well, Blur-wise then, the sound, the approach, the attitude, everything to do with album number 6, say, from Blur. Is it just completely different, and has it proved something to you to be maybe I don't want to be on the road touring anymore. Maybe I don't want to have anything worrying me anymore. I go into the studio with no ideas and we just thrash around and see what happens.
Well, I just realised that, you know, you know, you just don't have a lot of time in life, and to waste it not learning seems a real tragedy. So, you know, I'm into learning about music and just filling my head as much as possible.
Unpredictable, uncommercial, willful, out of control. Therefore, pretty good reasons to go into the studio these days for Damon Albarn, are they?
You know, I mean, I'm really obsessed with Latin music at the moment. I'm not interested in doing anything other than salsas, so I don't know where that's going to lead me in life.
Mm.
I get quite sort of carried away with a type of music and really try and learn about it.
Right.
You know, and I think people find it very difficult that I can sort of,
Yeah.
you know, turn up tomorrow in my Copacabana gear.
Right, yeah.
I'm lucky I'm allowed to do what I want now, so I'm not going to sort of abuse,
Right.
you know, that opportunity. And, you know, and I just realise how, when you see how good some people are, you know, it just makes me realise how much more I've got to learn and how much harder I've got to work to even kind of get anywhere close to people that I really admire. Which is, you know, I still have an ambition, but it's a much more, it's a different one, you know, it's not about being biggest, and
Yeah.
it's about being kind of trying to be at least equal.
William in the studio, I mean, he's done the Madonna album as well, 10 million, 11 million albums days later, Ray of Light, and that. He's pretty like...
Is that how many it's sold?
11 million, I believe,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
11 million. In fact,
Well,
okay,
he's
let's
doing
talk
all right
about that,
then.
right? A lot of those, most of those are in the States, okay? Now, you were definitely, you know, the States must have been beckoning as Britain's biggest band.
I think they thought with us working with him after Song 2 as well, that...
Because Song 2 was so huge in the States.
That was the moment. It was going to be our moment.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we've never... I just don't know how to conform to American sensibilities about what you should and shouldn't do.
But you don't care, do you?
No, don't care. But, you know, I mean, I suppose if the kind of those occasional moments when I think, you know, well, failed. Yeah, the problem in America is that whatever you do, you're going to be put in a little kind of groove. You know, you're not going to be allowed to be perceived in any other way. So, and unfortunately, the groove that we could never get out of unless we had, you know, I don't know, something radical happened. It's sort of indie rock, and it's really crap. I don't want to be part of that.
But it's been good because, I mean, chasing the Yankee dollar and chasing fame is something that you simply don't want to know about, and that's a great place to be. You know, this.
Well, I have done once with Song 2. I'm kind of glad that I did that.
Right.
You know, and really, that song it started off on MTV, ended up on The Simpsons, and went through every single manifestation.
Right.
And
So you've done it.
Yeah. I mean, I can go anywhere in America and no one knows who I am. I can say I'm in the band.
And just go,
And they,
woohoo!
well, as I say, Song 2, they don't even know. But if I go, wahoo, you know,
there's not many people who can say that. I like that, yeah.
I got my head checked by a Japan check. It wasn't easy, but nothing is. Wow! Wow,
first single from the album is Tender,
Yeah.
which was the first single from the album called Blur, or the album called 13, which is the sixth album. The second single, there was big talk about it being Trim Trap, which I think is pretty commercial actually myself,
Well,
even
I
though
do as
not
well.
in daytime America,
I do
Radio
as
8,
well.
but it's pretty commercial. But certainly Coffee and TV is more commercial.
Yeah.
So why eventually, did something happen in those 4 weeks? That like it was going to be Trim Trap, and now it's Coffee and TV, and did you
Well,
all...
quite a lot happened actually.
Did you all democratically sit down and say, hold on a second? And was there ever a chance you said, hold on, that's not my song and I'm not singing on it?
Well, it is my song. I wrote it.
Oh, did you? Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. Okay, but you're not singing on it?
No.
Okay, fine. Sorry about that.
No, it's
okay.
all right. I
So,
mean,
like,
it doesn't,
Coffee and
you know.
TV is more commercial. And
I
therefore
didn't write the lyrics.
Okay,
but I
the
wrote
record
them.
company would much rather have Coffee and TV, I'd say pretty obviously.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So where's the democracy in that?
Well, it's a case. Well, to be honest with you, it's. I wanted Trim Trap, and globally, EMI just. You know, they don't say it, but they do imply, and this is no, and I don't think this has been disrespectful, because I do have a really good working relationship with my record company, but they just said, look, we can't do our job properly with this song, and that makes the decision. Ultimately, when you're putting singles out, I mean, it's either put one out or it's sort of pointless putting a single out. I mean, the album is, I suppose it's just sort of, it's perceived as being a very depressing album, and it's not. So
No, it's not.
So if you put that single out, it will, over the summer, it will draw people in who would stay cleared a bit prior to that, because they felt.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I don't know. There's a million theories. I mean, my opinion is it's either working or it's not working, and I don't think, you know, but I don't know. I mean, I'm very happy with the album, so as any song off that I would be, you know.
So therefore, has it reached the point someone is, look, you've done what you want to do album-wise, this is the album, and quite honestly, if Joe Bloggs wants to pick track number 9, I don't even know which one track number 9 is, pick it.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter that much.
No, it doesn't matter, because the album as a whole
Yeah.
is really good,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter. I mean, which is a nice position to be in.